Buon pomeriggio a tutti, bentornati a ioGioco a Play. Siamo qui negli studi di ioGioco a Play, appunto nella fiera di Modena, e siamo in compagnia di Alfredo Genovese di Ghenos Games, non so più mai come dirlo, è tutto intero,
Giusto,
Ghenos
l'hai
Games,
detto giusto.
e soprattutto il nostro ospite d'onore, Enoch Fryxelius, uno degli sviluppatori di un famosissimo gioco che basta questo nome, basta il cognome per identificarlo subito, è Terraforming Mars. E lo salutiamo ovviamente.
Welcome to Italy.
Welcome to Italy, thank you to be here with us.
Thank you.
E con lui cercheremo di capire un po' insomma, qualche retroscena di Terraforming Mars. Quindi la prima domanda che secondo me è giusto fare a Enoch è dov'è l'origine di questo gioco? Cioè quando loro hanno cominciato a svilupparlo e se l'idea è partita fin da subito con questa ambientazione, poi tra l'altro molto attuale, della terraformazione di Marte, di cui negli ultimi anni si è sempre più parlato, oppure se è stato uno sviluppo di meccaniche e poi è stato introdotto una ambientazione, ecco.
Ok. Devo tradurre una domanda.
No, se vuoi, oppure dimmi tu, faccio
Have you
io.
understood the question?
No, not in Italian?
I'm joking. Okay. The question is, tell us something about the origins of Terraforming Mars.
So when you start to develop it,
Exactly.
if the starting ideas was to develop a space game, so something related to the terraforming of the planet Mars, or if this ambience has been added later and so on. So which is the history of this game?
Yes.
This is the first
And
question.
also something about your great family company.
My crazy family.
We will ask it about it. Yes.
So maybe I should start with that. So I come from one of the biggest families in Sweden. So I have 9 brothers and 6 sisters.
Una delle più grandi, faccio così, faccio bene.
Sì, perfetto.
Una delle più grandi famiglie, più numerose in Svezia, sono 9 fratelli e 6 sorelle.
And my father and my mother and almost all my brothers and sisters, they are involved in gaming in different ways.
Sono sempre stati appassionati per differenti motivi nei giochi. Io faccio un riassunto.
Sì, perfetto.
And 10 years ago, we started our own company to see if our games could work outside of the family. So we started the business, and the very first year after we come home from the Essen Spiel,
10 anni fa sono andati a Essen, avendo fondato la loro società.
Che è la FryxGames, giusto?
FryxGames
is the name.
Because
of the
our last name is Fryxelius.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, so that Christmas, Jacob came home with a big bunch of really ugly paper notes.
Giacomo è arrivato quel Natale con una serie di
commenti
e commenti, una pila di commenti.
Yes, and he had a college like a big paper, where he had 3 parameters, and that was oxygen and temperature and oceans on a piece of paper.
Quindi praticamente lui, tra l'altro Giacomo è un chimico, aveva questi 3 parametri scritti su questi fogli, e sono i 3 parametri che vediamo: ossigeno,
sono la base
sì,
su cui poi è stato costruito.
And he had a lot of markers, so he had decoration stones that he has found in the supermarket.
Okay.
Yeah. Aveva trovato in vari modi in supermarket come
token.
Esatto, come fare segnare questi parametri.
And that was Terraforming Mars.
Good.
And so that was Terraforming Mars, and we played it, and he said, Terraforming Mars. Okay, what is that?
Hanno giocato e hanno detto: che cos'è Terraforming Mars?
But we played it and it was fun. But it was also very complex. So if you have played Terraforming Mars, it's like playing with only playing only with the blue cards of the game that has action or effects. So like all the cards, all the ugly paper notes, they were cards, and you are placing a lot of resources on them, or they were placing resources on other cards. So basically it was just a card game, and then you had these 3 parameters that you had the parameters for. And that's basically that was the game.
Il gioco gli è sembrato immediatamente solo un gioco di carte, e tra l'altro questi parametri dovevano essere posizionati con i token del supermercato sulle carte.
So basically the game started with the idea of the card game. at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And for us, when we make games, and anyone in the family, it's always about the theme. So you have an idea what to make a game. So Jacob is the biggest Mars nerd in the universe. So he knows everything about the science. He's a doctor in chemistry. And he also read all the magazines and all the science. He also, one of his scientific projects is part of the game. Artificial photosynthesis. He was part of that when he was a doctor, making his doctorate degree in chemistry.
Quindi Jacob, sintetizzando, è fondamentalmente dottore in chimica.
Scienziato
Era
forte.
quello tra i fratelli che aveva praticamente questa missione, aveva le conoscenze per capire. Aveva anche letto, tra l'altro stamattina ha parlato di un libro sulla terraformazione, quindi il tema è stato immediatamente proposto così.
So anyway, so we were playing and we were moving all these resources, all these little decoration stones. We used for resources and we placed them anywhere, and we played a lot of cards, and it's like it was so complex. And I said to Jacob, this is fun, but it's really complex. And he's like, yes. And his eyes were
Muovendo
shining.
queste pietre decorative sugli effetti, eccetera, eccetera. Il loro dubbio, il suo sicuramente guardando Jacob è stato è fun, è divertente, ma è complesso, e Jacob ha fatto sì.
So then we started a great teamwork. So we're actually 5 brothers in the company, and all 5 of us started to work on the Terraforming Mars game.
Hanno cominciato a fare un lavoro di sviluppo tutti insieme, sono 5 di questi 9 che lavorano, io li ho conosciuti tutti.
So we said, this is great, and then Jonathan said, okay, but could actually take some of these resources and place them on the player board instead. Mm-hmm. So instead of titanium is something that you have on different cards and they collect the resources, we could have a player board where you put all the titanium in one place.
Esatto.
Or play.
Jonathan in particolare ha cominciato a sentire l'esigenza di un tabellone dove mettere ad esempio le risorse di titanio.
So Jonathan thought he actually made this. So Jonathan made this player board and came back with that to Jacob.
Quindi Jonathan ha portato questa modifica.
And Daniel said that maybe because we are on Mars, we really should have a game board. So Daniel said we should really have a game board with a Mars surface. And then Jacob made this first board, and he made this is based on a real Mars map. And he put all the parameters, instead of having it in one piece of paper with the parameters, he put the parameters on the board. And of course the oceans you place on the board instead.
E Daniel ha praticamente, Jonathan ha deciso per questo, ha importato questo, e Daniel invece ha detto ma perché non facciamo una faccia di Marte che tra l'altro è molto realistica. Noi traducendola, I'm adding something for the Italian people. During the translation, durante la traduzione, noi ci siamo accorti che effettivamente era reale.
Accurata.
It's a real, the real surface of Mars.
So
accurately.
Exactly. So the whole game is based on real science and real scientific ideas.
E abbiamo trovato tutti questi nomi reali, dovendo tradurli, quindi facendo queste scelte. Dopodiché i parametri, come sappiamo, la percentuale di ossigeno perché un pianeta sia abitabile è il 14%, una temperatura al di sopra del congelamento dell'acqua, quindi arrivi a 8 gradi, e poi ci sono gli oceani.
So the game is based on science and shiny cubes. So that's why you should buy this game, right? Science and shiny cubes.
Scienza e brillanti, cubi brillanti.
So, my part is that, and then I have another brother, Isaac. He started to do the artwork. So he started to make the artwork and all the images, everything. And then my work is actually to start to simplify and play test. Take some of these very complex cards and divide the effects into 2 different cards instead, so that each card is not so complex or have a lot of choice options, instead making many different cards.
Enoch, che è praticamente anche lui un game designer, tra l'altro ci ha detto stamattina, ha una laurea in economy, ok? Economy graduate. He is also a game designer, quindi anche un designer, e ha fatto il facilitatore, cioè ha cominciato praticamente a splittare gli effetti che erano troppo concentrati su una carta in 2 carte, ed era la persona che li ha portati verso il mercato. You guided your brothers to the market.
Yeah, also
making easier and easier the game. And
so I'm the business guy, and also the one that started the company and everything. So, but also the whole process. I'm the one coordinating all the game testing and the development, and also I'm writing the rule book together with Jacob. So the rule book for the game. And that's why it's very important for me to get my own...
your name on the rule book.
Oh,
picture.
Better, I get my picture in the rule book.
Yeah.
Questo è Enoch Fryxelius.
Very, very important.
At the age of 18, 19 years. You were 18 years old here? Or
no gray hair. Still no gray hair. Yeah, it was before that. Yes, sure.
Non aveva I capelli grigi.
Ecco, un'altra domanda arrivati a questo punto è se lo aspettavano un successo così, perché Terraforming Mars è davvero uno dei giochi che poi in questi ultimi anni, da quando è uscito 2016 a oggi, ha raccolto davvero tanti premi.
Another question is, did you feel the success? Did you expect the success of Terraforming Mars, or you were thinking to have produced a normal standard game?
In early 2014, 2 years before we published it, we actually
2014.
This game, as I said, already existed from 2011, and we've been developing it for several years.
Questo gioco nasce nel 2011.
And we actually made a decision in 2014 that we would start to publish our other game that's called Fleets. So we did that other game first
di provarci,
because we said that, okay, Terraforming Mars, maybe we need a little more time, and Fleets is almost ready. But we already talked then, we said that Terraforming Mars is a very special game, and it could be really good. We already, sometimes in 2014, we realized that this is probably the best game that we have made.
Un gioco che si chiamava Flotte. Però si rendevano conto che questo gioco nel 2014 a Essen aveva potenziale, quindi qualcosa hanno percepito.
And it was actually difficult, but we chose the other game first to publish, and then we worked on this. And then we tried for 2 more years to find publishers for Terraforming Mars, and it was difficult, it was hard.
Quindi hanno deciso di continuare con alcuni giochi che in realtà non avevano grosso potenziale e hanno tenuto ai box Terraforming Mars continuando a lavorarci.
In cerca di editori.
E non trovavano editori. For 2 years you didn't find any publisher.
Yeah, we find 2 and then 3 publishers, but there was not enough to make a good print run. So we had an English print run, we had a Polish print run. The Rebel games, they were very quick, yes. And then for 2 years there was just, okay, when are we printing? When are we printing? Yeah, we're trying to get partners.
Non avevano copie per cominciare una produzione che fosse massiva e quindi interessante. E quindi per 2 anni hanno girato un po' a vuoto mentre appunto si concentravano su altri.
And everybody said the same. It's too different, and it's not. We have so many projects that we can do that is sure that we know that we can rely on. And some say, like the French partner said, okay, but we're not a very big publishing business. We maybe localize 3 or 4 games, and we have other projects that is more that we know is going to work well. And this is different with all the cards. Especially people have talked about the big stack with the random cards. It's over 200 in the base game, 2 unique random cards. And a lot of publishers is saying that no one else is doing that. That is strange. It feels very random, and they didn't want to take the risk.
Sì, quindi
because of the randomness.
Yeah. Some even said this will flop for certain. This will not work out. This will be a flop. Yeah. They said to our face that we don't want to join because this is not going to work. No one is going to like this. Okay.
Beh, penso sia capito, un publisher francese, il publisher inglese,
they were wrong.
C'era scetticismo attorno a questo gioco anche per la randomness e nessuno si decideva a partire, quindi nessuno voleva prendere il rischio. Alcuni hanno detto è un flop, direi che si commenta da sola.
Questa cosa.
And more than one publisher said this. So many publishers told us that, okay, what is this? This is a different, okay, this is wild.
Molti hanno detto che cos'è, erano diffidenti, ha parlato anche della pila di più di 200 carte che lo rendevano Quindi la domanda era, what is this? Che cos'è?
Exactly. So what did we do? Did we listen to the feedback? No. We keep adding more expansions so that we get more and more and more card. So actually, instead of making a smaller stack of cards, our goal is to make the biggest stack of cards for any game.
Invece di tenere conto dei feedback, hanno tirato giù l'acceleratore e hanno fatto più carte che lui ha menzionato essere poi state riprese nelle espansioni, perché stamattina appunto in un'altra
ecco sì, perché anche Terraforming Mars, grazie anche al suo successo probabilmente, ha avuto una sequela di espansioni che escono tuttora, nel senso che...
So Enoch, you're saying that you designed the expansions well before publishing them.
Yeah, exactly. So
in this period,
before we published the base game, we already have made the expansions. They were not complete, they were not ready, but we already made them. They were prototypes of the expansions.
Prima che Terraforming Mars fosse, le espansioni erano già abbozzate sicuramente, ma già anche sviluppate.
Because when you make a game, and that always happens when we make games, you always have a lot of really great ideas, and you realize that. Usually I realize that, guys, we cannot put all of this into a base game. So this has to be expansion material, and we have to keep the basic game fairly simple. And that's usually what I tell them. But then they say, okay, but we can have an expansion. We can have an expansion, they say, my brothers. And I say, yes, we can make an expansion. If the base game is going well. Yes.
Sì. Quindi, dopo questo feedback, loro cosa hanno fatto? La storia dice che hanno splittato una parte
del gioco.
Sì, che era massiccio, lo hanno praticamente alleggerito, ma buttandolo dentro le espansioni. Quindi, e ovviamente l'idea con i fratelli era le faremo se il gioco avrà successo.
E infatti,
I can give an example actually.
Yeah.
I talked the very first version of this game with the cards and the paper notes. One of the first things that was there was global event cards that affect all the other players. Mm-hmm. And this was so great because it gives so much theme to the game. It gives so much feeling to the game. There's something happening on the planet Mars and affects all the players. One of the problems is that it's very hard to make a system with event cards that is not very random, that is hitting some players very hard because of the way they played, for example, or they are gaining some other players that get an unfair advantage. So it's too much of a luck factor. So we really, that's one of the things that we had to cut out of the very first base game. And the event cards is coming back in the last expansion, the turmoil expansion. We're bringing back the event cards. One of the very original ideas.
Di effetto globale, e le carte evento sono state praticamente messe posticipate.
Tolte perché sembravano poter sbilanciare il gioco, perché avrebbero potuto avvantaggiare di più un giocatore o un altro, nonostante fosse un evento comune.
Corretto.
Per via della strategia seguita da ognuno, ma poi l'hanno reintrodotto in un'espansione. E a questo punto la domanda è: quale sarà il futuro di Terraforming Mars? Cioè, voi state ancora, come FryxGames, state ancora sviluppando e quindi usciranno nuove espansioni, oppure è un capitolo che si sta per chiudere? E quindi poi la domanda subito dopo è: FryxGames sta già sviluppando altri giochi al di fuori del mondo Terraforming Mars?
What can we expect from the brand Terraforming Mars in the next future? This is the first question. If there is still something to go deeper and deeper.
You're not happy yet? I give you a base game, 5 expansions, you're not happy
yet?
He's
doing the question. It's not my question.
No, just kidding.
Okay, I'm with you, my friend.
You don't want any more?
No.
I have no. The point is that the game is very good, and when the game is good, that means that behind the game there are good people that know how to project it. So we want to know if there is a future for Terraforming Mars, and if there is a future for the company itself. So if you are developing other games.
Oh yes. So let me talk about that. So now I'm serious, okay?
Okay.
So for Terraforming Mars, we have done the 5 expansions that we already published. We are very happy with them, and we don't want to make more expansions unless we have very good ideas.
Yeah.
And we want to make all expansions modular so that you can combine them in any way. Mm-hmm. And you can still do that, but you get a very long game now if you mix everything together. But we want you to be able to do that. So
Colonies, Venus Next, Prelude, Turmoil.
So right now we're not planning more expansions right now, but we have just come with the card game, the Ares Expedition.
Ok, adesso hanno lavorato su Ares Expedition, che è un card game.
I hope you will get it in December, but everything is delayed. It's delayed, you know.
Enoch, no.
Late November. Factory says. It's a factory.
Yeah, it's the factory, not you.
Yes, yes.
Ragazzi, avete sentito tutti che arriverà a dicembre. Avevo detto ottobre-novembre. In diretta.
We're also working on the dice game, of course.
Okay. Stanno lavorando su un gioco di dadi.
Quindi il gioco di carte praticamente in uscita.
In uscita ma ritardata, adesso qua fatemi dire che tutto è ritardato in questo periodo.
And it's the same thing, you know, with the cards the publisher says that not so many random cards, it doesn't work. So it's the same thing now that we're making a dice game and we have about I think 70-75 dice in that.
In risposta alla randomness che veniva criticata eccetera, loro hanno lanciato una tonnellata di dadi.
75.
Also the number and also the cost is expensive to do. We have a lot of dice. Dice is actually quite expensive. But then instead they say, oh, can't you do a normal dice game, like a normal dice game? Use 5 dice or something, and everybody uses the same dice. You know, like that. No. So we want to do this dice game. It's going to be like 75 dice, and it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a really good game.
A schedule for the dice game? Do you have a?
It depends a little. It depends a little. So we are
make a promise to the Italian people.
My promise is, it will come and it will be good.
Arriverà e sarà bellissimo.
If the promise is this, we can wait.
Ok, we can wait. Possiamo aspettare.
Yes. And we'll give you a lot of dice.
Ok, vi daremo tanti dadi.
Yes. And it's going to affect the price.
Allora, da dietro le telecamere di ioGioco, Cambiaghi si è inchinato alla...
But it will. So I'm not joking. But I am. So and after that, we have one more secret project. We have one really big, really cool, fantastic.
C'è un segreto che non possiamo non lo so nemmeno io in realtà, perché non ha voluto dirmelo, sennò
non può trapelare nulla, neanche la
Nothing
presentazione.
I don't want anyone to be curious, therefore I don't say so much about it.
Okay.
Otherwise, this will be the ultimate Terraforming Mars experience. But I don't want to get anyone excited about it, so therefore I don't say it.
Okay.
Non può dire nulla, ma ci tiene a dire che saremo molto sorpresi. Quindi ha detto che
and don't tell all your friends that this most fantastic thing is coming.
Okay.
Don't tell your friends.
Not
yet.
Not
too
yet.
Too late.
It's too early. Too early, we need some
Qualcosa
time.
bolle in pentola nella
But it's coming. And we are actually publishing other games as well. And sometimes it's a bit sad that people don't see the other games that we are making, because we are making other games. Right now we're making a huge Angels and Demons game that's called Angel Fury. That is coming in Italian when?
Ghenos, next year.
Next year. Okay, so that's a promise. It's on tape. All right. So the great miniature
game. È molto triste
perché
la famiglia Fryx viene praticamente identificata con Terraforming. Loro stanno cercando chiaramente di
lo scopo della domanda era
you are
questo.
identified with Terraforming, and this is why you are sad. Okay, you are trying to do other games, not only Terraforming, even if Terraforming is.
We published 7 different games by now, and people only know about Terraforming Mars. But we have so much coming, and especially these big miniature games with the war game with Angels and Demons. It's going to be fantastic.
Okay. Lui dice che questo gioco appunto di miniature angeli e demoni, che è Angel Fury, che è in arrivo e per il futuro ci possiamo compromettere nel dire che lo faremo, ci tengono molto. Quindi.
And just like with Terraforming Mars, we want to add a lot of like real source material, so you can actually learn something by like, playing this. You learn a lot about the real ideas. Same thing with the Angel Fury, that we really dug into the Jewish mythology, the Bible sources.
Hanno fatto un lavoro così come
per l'ambientazione.
Per Terraforming Mars. Tra l'altro lui appunto oggi pomeriggio fa un incontro anche con gli scienziati dell'INAF, quindi il tema della terraformazione è stato approfondito in modo molto rigoroso. Lui adesso in Angel and Fury praticamente ha fatto studi sulle tradizioni giudaiche, sulla Bibbia cristiana e ci sono, la traduzione non è facile, ecco perché noi l'abbiamo posticipata.
Io userei questi ultimi 5 minuti per fare una domanda molto personale a Enoch, visto che oramai di Terraforming Mars. Personal question. No, it's not so personal. Not very super. Ma il punto è, ovviamente lui fa il lavoro che tutti i giocatori vorrebbero fare, cioè l'autore di giochi.
Your job is the dream for,
all a lot of players, okay. And you do this job inside your family. So how is it to do this in the family? Which is the difference with a normal company? So
you can't fire them when they're doing a bad job.
Non puoi licenziare la famiglia, bravo Enoch. Well done.
It's like I'm sitting on the weekly meeting, like on Skype. So it's like
un meeting settimanale su Skype con tutti i fratelli.
Okay, so Daniel, have you made all the graphic work for this after the virus, the game that we're working on?
Daniel ha fatto la grafica
and he says,
after the virus.
No, because I just came up with a new game that I've been working on this new week. It's going to be really cool. Yes, Daniel, but we have a publishing business here. Jacob, did you do the work that we said you were going to write something for an interview for Terraforming Mars? No, I also came up with a new game. I also made a new game. I spent all the week I just spent on making this new game.
Tutte le deadline sono state violate e non gli puoi dire nulla perché stanno facendo altro, quindi la famiglia ha il vantaggio ma ha lo svantaggio che...
So it's interesting, and also the reason I like to say to people that I'm the CEO.
Lui è il CEO dell'azienda.
It's because my brothers don't give me any respect, so I have to get the respect from everyone else.
L'unico modo per essere rispettato dai suoi fratelli è stato quello di assumere la carica di CEO.
Yes, that's why I have to go to Italy to get some respect.
È venuto in Italia per...
Quindi neanche per i fratelli, per cercarlo fuori in qualità di CEO dell'azienda.
But it's also great fun because it's one way for us to keep the family together. And everybody who works in the board game business, we know that it's so important that we enjoy what we do, and it's important that we enjoy the people that we are working with.
Sì, è vero.
That's so important.
È importante, in quest'ambito è verissimo, cioè tutti quelli con cui lavori, voi compresi, devono essere, ci sono dei rapporti che vanno oltre i rapporti normali delle aziende, tu lo sai benissimo perché lavori. E quindi il nostro ambiente è un ambiente molto familiare, molto senza frontiere anche se vogliamo, molto informale, ecco. And what about, you mentioned this morning the mama's approval. What is the
mama's approval? Yeah, that's important.
Dici qualcosa sull'approvazione di mamma.
My mom is the biggest gamer in the family.
Okay.
She's the biggest gamer.
La più grande giocatrice
della famiglia.
Esatto.
Oh, yes.
Abbiamo il cuote rosa anche, che è giusto.
And we say that every game that we make has to be mama approved.
Ogni gioco che hanno fatto
deve avere... Your mom play
we only publish games that my mama says this is a good game.
Okay.
Pubblicano solo giochi che la mamma dice di approvare.
Yes.
Okay. And when you go to Karlstad,
your mama,
quando va a casa di sua mamma,
the first thing I see when I come in, I see that to the kitchen table, it's always the game setup.
C'è sempre un gioco anticipato.
No one is playing, it's just a setup.
Nella cucina della mamma c'è sempre un gioco setappato. Questa secondo me è una cosa, io volevo dirvela e quindi per questo ho fatto la domanda. È bellissimo, è di un'accoglienza incredibile.
And he says, oh, my son, are you here? Do you want to play a game with your old mother? Do you want to play a game with your old mother?
Questa è la differenza tra le mamme italiane che invece hanno sempre la tavola apparecchiata e tentano di darti del cibo.
In Italy, the Italian mama is on the kitchen table as something different.
Food, and they try to...
A lot of food and not games.
Yeah, they're pushing games on us instead. Of course you can eat while you play, and that's what they usually do. So we eat and play.
Puoi mangiare mentre giochi, ma... È bellissima questa cosa. Ok.
Bene, io direi che vi ringraziamo, la nostra mezz'ora è terminata, non so se volete aggiungere qualcosa.
Io voglio ringraziare Enoch per com'è la sua famiglia. I want to be thankful to you for what you are and your family, the message you carry with you, and this is you testify a lot of values in your work, and this is something that I want to say in front of the Italian people. It's incredible. You are not like any other partner. You are special, really.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you want a handshake on the team?
Grandissimo.
Good to be here.
Ringraziamo Alfredo, thank you Enoch to be here with us.
Grazie.
Vi salutiamo e al prossimo appuntamento con ioGioco a Play. Ciao a tutti.